So when I made my top 10 anime list for last year, at number 2 I put Dandadan, and I mentioned in that video that I would make a separate video talking about Dandadan, and initially I planned to make a review like how I normally do, but I think I'm going to change up the format of how I talk about anime. So in this video I'm kind of going to review Dandadan in a sense, but I'm also going to try and look at what made Dandadan great. Like, Dandadan's first season came out swinging, and a lot of people in the anime community fell in love with it and had it as their favorite anime of the year. For me, that was Dungeon Meshi, but Dandadan was a close second, and the only reason it didn't make it to the top was because it kind of ended very much abruptly. So while we wait for that second season to come out, I thought we'd take a look back at Dandadan and what made the anime community kind of fall in love with it. Or at least how it made me fall in love with it. Now, before I continue with this video, if you like anime and movie content, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, you can check the description for an anime playlist if you want more anime content. So trying to describe the story of Dandadan can be very sort of complicated, because even if you're talking to someone who's seen anime, who's seen a ton of anime, trying to explain Dandadan to them can be quite confusing, because Dandadan is a mishmash of a lot of things. So Dandadan follows two protagonists, which are Momo Ayase and Takakura Ken, and they are two diametrically opposed individuals. Momo is a gyare, she is into fashion, and she's very stylish. Meanwhile, Ken is an otaku, and he's not just any otaku, he's an occult otaku. And that's the reason why Momo nicknames him Okarun. So Momo inadvertently saves Okarun from being bullied and inadvertently kind of attracts him to her, and he kind of bothers her to share, thinking that she's also into the occult, and she kind of shares that she actually believes in spirits. And Okarun, who is this otaku, who is this nerd, laughs at her? He scoffs at her because there could be no such thing as the paranormal, no such thing as ghosts. I believe in aliens, and aliens are real. So they both make a bet against each other to see which of the phenomena that they believe in is real. So Okarun goes to this tunnel, which is supposedly haunted, and that's kind of a common thing that you get in Japanese folklore, is the haunted tunnel. You see it in the two that come to mind immediately is Mob Psycho 100, which is one of the early sort of exorcisms that Mob does, and also in JoJo's, where we get a stand that basically chases you down in the highway. So yeah, Okarun goes to this tunnel. Meanwhile, Momo goes to an abandoned hospital, I think, and it turns out in this world both aliens and ghosts exist. So Okarun is possessed by Turbo Granny. Meanwhile, Momo is kidnapped by the Serpoians, and the Serpoians' aim is to forcefully breed with humans because their planet is all males. And Okarun meanwhile comes through Momo's phone to try and save her, but he's actually just being possessed by Turbo Granny and is completely out of control. And then Momo, remembering what her grandma taught her, kind of awakens her Esper abilities, and basically in a beautiful parallel to the opening where she couldn't fight back against her douchebag ex, in this parallel she can fight back against the Serpoians using her newfound powers. And I think that's one of the great through lines, or one of the great themes in this anime, which is Momo's kind of emancipation, her gaining of these powers and the ability to affect the things around her with her powers. But anyways, back to the plot. So Momo gets her powers, they defeat the Serpoians, and now it's time to fix Okarun because he's still possessed by Turbo Granny. And that is just the first episode. It is a lot. It is bonkers. It is out there. And it is a mishmash of so many things that if you don't get the balance right, this could have failed. But credit to Yuki Nobutatsu, the mangaka for Dandadan, because he manages to thread the line really, really well. And besides just being a shonen battle action anime, a shonen battle action story, this is also a romance, because there is a developing romance between Okarun and Momo. And apparently the author was forced to read a ton of shoujo manga so he know how to depict romance in manga, and that's just great. That's just incredible, so that we get this actual chemistry between our two protagonists. So what is Dandadan exactly? Is it a supernatural horror? Is it a shonen action battle anime? Is it a romance? It's all in one. And that's why I say the line that it threads is so thin that if it doesn't get the balance right, it could have been a disaster. But somehow, Dandadan works. And also some of the themes and through lines in this story make it special. I'll go back again to that first episode, at the start of the first episode, where Momo was nearly essayed by her ex, and the same thing nearly happened at the end of the episode, but then she gains her powers and she gains emancipation to fight back against those that would do her harm. And in a similar way, Okarun, who is this nerdy guy who cannot stand up for himself, loses his nethers and ends up being more masculine. He ends up not just with his powers, as you can see at the back there, but no, he ends up learning to stand up for himself on his own. He exercises, he works out, he wants to get stronger to protect the person he loves. So while losing your nethers as a guy could be seen as a form of emasculation, it makes Okarun more masculine in a sense, and that's just the incredible contrast that this story has. Also, everybody knows about the incredible Acro Silky episode 7. I'm not going to spoil it here, but yes, that is the standout episode for this season. And when you watch that episode, it definitely elevates Dandadan from what it was before. Even though it was fantastic before, it just takes it to a whole new level. But while a story with a good plot and good theming can work in manga, it needs to be translated properly into anime. And that's where Science Saru comes in. Now, if you're not familiar with Science Saru, it is a studio founded by Masaki Uasa, the visionary director behind some incredibly avant-garde anime such as Ping Pong the Animation, The Tatami Galaxy, as well as Devilman Crybaby on Netflix. So from that list alone, you can see the kind of style that Science Saru kind of works with. It's quite avant-garde compared to many other contemporary anime studios because it fits the aesthetic that Masaki Yuasa tries to go for when he's making anime. And in bringing Masaki Yuasa's vision to life in various different anime, Science Saru has built this reputation of being the studio that makes very much avant-garde anime. And that's why when it was announced that Science Saru would be handling the animation for Dandadan, a lot of my peers in the anime community were excited because they knew Science Saru's track record, they knew the nature of what Science Saru has produced, and they believed that Science Saru and Dandadan was a match made in heaven. And judging by the product that they've just put out, it definitely was. Because the animation in Dandadan is stellar. From the use of color, to the fluidity of animation, to the facial expressions. Because in the manga, there are these facial expressions that are just hilarious, and Science Saru have managed to capture those in animation and make them work. Like from the first episode, Science Saru brings their A game. Like, I wish I could do a deep dive on the color, but I need to rewatch the anime again. Like the blues and greens of the first episode to the blacks used in the second episode to the colors used for the Acro Silky episode. I mean, damn, that's just on the colors, but the animation, the fluidity of it, the sequence where they're being chased by Turbo Granny, the sort of crab chase scene fitted to William Tell's overture is just perfection. It is so much fun and it just works. And I think they use William Tell's overture again when they're chasing down the anatomical dummy, and it's that kind of sense of humor when bringing an adaptation to the screen that really resonates with audiences, or at least it resonated with me. It's that willingness to experiment and try things with the animation that keeps people hooked on top of the story that's happening. So yes, Science Saru and Dandadan were a match made in heaven, and we got an incredible anime from that. But there is one more thing that I feel that made this first season of Dandadan great, and that is the opening. Now, I'll be real, I'm someone who skips openings, right? I listen to them once if I'm interested and then skip because I don't have the time for that. I want to get into the meat of my story. But Otonoke by Creepy Nuts, I had to watch that every episode. I would watch the opening through every episode because one, the music by CreepyNuts, the song Otonoke, is such a bona fide banger, but also the animation for the opening is incredibly beautiful and resonates well with the song. First, focusing on CreepyNuts itself, they're a band of 2 people, and only one of them actually does any vocals, because the DJ Matsunaga, just prepares the rhymes and the beats, whereas the vocals are solely done by Arshite, who also does the rapping for their songs. And they've had a big year last year, because not only did they have Otonoke, but they also had Bring Bang Bang Bong before that. And yeah, in Crunchyroll's upcoming anime awards for best OP, it's gonna be just between those 2. But the incredible banger OP aside, the animation for the OP just fits. Again, the colors are beautiful, just the animations and different facial expressions, while also alluding to the supernatural and extraterrestrial phenomena that take place in the story. It all just comes together to make probably the best opening of the year. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my thoughts on what made Dandadan great. I'm looking forward to the second season, and I want to see whether it can live up to the first season. But until then, I'm just gonna have to fill my time with other anime, I guess. Well, just thinking about Dandadan and having Otonoke on loop. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Dandadan? Is there anything in this video that I missed? These are just my thoughts of the few things that made Dandadan great, but if you have other things to contribute, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.